is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis, I'm going. What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with my monthly annual MVP update. Not much has changed when it comes from the players that's in this list, but at the same time, we got a larger sample size of who really is MVP, who really is helping their team win, who has been healthy, and who has crept up throughout the last couple months and took some of their spots, and who moves up and who's moved down. Like I always tell y'all starting the video, that at the end of the day, this is about the whole season. This isn't about who gets hot this week or who got hot last month. This is just who have been the best players and worthy of the MVP throughout this whole season. So keep that in mind when I make this list. I'm judging the whole season from October, November, December to now, not just who's hot. And that's how I'm going to pick who the MVP is and who are the candidates to win it. But this year has been very decisive and very easy so far. These last 2 months has become a front runner and a guy that got a little bit of a gap to who's behind him. But, I'm going to go down with my honorable mentions. Then I'm going to go to my top five. And by the end of the video, y'all know my number one. So, Jokic, this is a guy that's really been, criticized a lot for being out of shape and getting a lot of hate for that. He wasn't in shape. He wasn't dominant. People felt like he had one of the best seasons. He was all NBA first team. Then you look at the simple fact that he played and elevated his game in the playoffs, even though they didn't go as far as we thought a number 2 seed should. They still did fight and get out of the first round to get themselves a chance against Portland. It just came up short. But Jokic was spectacular. I became a bigger fan of him. I felt like they needed him, and he really was able to deliver consistently throughout the regular season last year and this season. This year he got a little bumpy, not what we thought he would be. The Denver Nuggets are still the number 2 team in the West, and a lot of it has to do with Jokic. He's been hitting big shots. He's been taking big shots. He has upped his rebound efficiency. His passing is coming back around, and he just looks amazing right now. But he's not in the MVP conversation because of those first 2 months, and that's why he's an honorable mention right now. But we still got a little bit to go in the season, so he might be able to climb into the top 5 the way he's playing now. And if he can do that for a couple more months, he might even be in the top 5. Kawhi Leonard, in and out, that's what really has hurt him. But when he does play, he has been fantastic. The thing about it is he still goes with the load management, which we all have to accept. And we all have to, realize that this is how he's going to play and this is how it's going to be. But when he does go out there and contribute, when he does go out there and play, he's a monster. It's hard to guard him. It's hard to stop him. He's physical. He's smart. He's witty. And he just know how to get the job done on both ends of the court. Even though he hasn't been as healthy as he was 3 years ago in San Antonio when they went to the Western Conference Finals, we're starting to see him really start to figure it out, and his teammates too. And the Clippers still do look like possibly the best team in the NBA some nights. But with Paul George gone and Kawhi Leonard in and out, we may never see how great this team really can be until the playoffs. And will that be early? Will that be enough? Or will that be their biggest weakness of why they go down? I think that's the question right now for them. Video game Dame. The Portland Trailblazers are out of the playoffs picture. Dame has had a Dame season up until this point. It seemed like he just saying, I can't let us lose. I'm about to go out there and do whatever I can to put my team in a situation to where we will win or we can win. And he went out there and played hard. He's getting his rebounds. He's getting his assists. He's stepping up in the fourth quarters. He's taking over games. I said this to my girl. I was like, you know what? Dame might be all NBA first team again. No Steph this whole entire season. And Dame has elevated his game. And if this team do find a way to get into that 8th spot, which I don't think they can get any higher, that would be a huge accomplishment, especially with the injuries to Zach Collins and Nurkic, and they trying out Carmelo. They just made another trade for Trevor Ariza. Through all the chaos and the turmoil, he has been very patient. He has really took the pressure and the losing to heart. He has been a professional about it, and when it comes to the court, he has shown that he's one of the guys that you have to mention. When it comes to the best guards in this league, he's one of them, and he's showing it. Now we just got to see, will it be enough? And even if it is, it's going to be tough to get out of the first round. but it just certain type of players that just don't accept nothing less than the playoffs. And I feel like he's one of those guys. And if he can get this team that's been going through all this chaos and turmoil when it comes to injuries and everything else, that'd be an ultimate testament to his ability to carry a team, something that he's doing at an all-time level right now, especially in the month of January, which was last month. Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has been fantastic to me all season, and I just wanted him to raise his scoring ability up. And his ability to score has always been something that he has did in multiple ways. His playmaking is at an all-time high. His rebound is at an all-time high. His leadership is at an all-time high. His defense isn't still where I want it to be, but he's still a solid one at that position. I feel like a lot of guys thought he was going to be a starter. That just shows you how great he has been this season. He has been with the Miami Heat has needed, because he's taken them into literally contender status. And we haven't felt that way about Miami in a while. And people forget, but Miami didn't even make it to the playoffs last year. They came up short. And even when Dwayne Wade left that one year, they came up short. Jimmy Butler has this team as possibly the second best team in the East outside of the Bucks. And none of us thought that coming into this season, but it's reality right now. And if he can stay healthy and he can raise his shooting up and even his efficiency, because he's not really taking too many jumpers, especially from the three-point line. But if he can knock down those two, that only strengthens his case as an MVP. James Harden, he has been terrible because he's been going through the injuries. Not only that, he hasn't shot the ball that well and hasn't been as dominant as he was in the first 2 months in the first week of October. And that's it. Other than that, James Harden will be probably MVP or in the top three. But the fact that his numbers been going down, his efficiency's been going down, and the Rockets' position in the playoffs has went down to a low as a sixth seed, it just hurts his chances of really being the MVP this year. I've seen him go out there and give all he can offensively to carry this team to W after W, but he hasn't been doing it lately. And that's for the whole month of January, in my personal opinion. And that's why he has dropped from being number two all the way down to number four. But he was just so incredible at the beginning of the year that he still does make the top five and top four in this list. Luka, he missed a couple of games and he's back. He's back doing what he has done all season. And this team has really, you know, been up and down with the wins and going against contenders. And we really can't gauge how good this team is. And I think that's the hardest thing about the Mavericks is most people didn't expect them to make it to the playoffs. Most people didn't expect them to have the record that they have right now. But a lot of it has to do with Doncic being able to create for others and for himself, and being able to put the defense in sticky situations and pick them apart. He is a high-level IQ player, just very patient, very smart, and he's calculated. And you want those type of guys on your team, and that's why they have risen above expectations this season. But they're coming back down to earth. They're becoming another great team. They're not a championship team. They're not an elite team. They're just good. And that's better than what we thought. We didn't think they'd be as great as they have been, but they still look like a team that's not really capable of doing much in the playoffs, even though their record shows different. And it's unfortunate because Doncic is an all-star starter, but you want to see him in the playoffs and you really want to see him succeed, but they just don't have enough. They really don't, but they're very competitive and very good. And Porzingis has been off and on throughout the season, but he looking like a little bit more. He's looking about 65% of Porzingis, which is good to considering their record. And when you look at this season and you look at Doncic, you look at Porzingis, they really do match well. They do play well off each other, and they do style-wise fit. It's just about finding other pieces to put around them to get them to that championship level. And that's the question for them. Other than that, I feel like Doncic has played well. Wish he can become a better shooter than he is right now. I wish he can turn over the ball just a little bit less and become a better free throw shooter. But those are just nitpicking a great player and a great season for himself. And he does deserve the third spot in MVP. Number two, LeBron. I feel like LeBron James has been pretty good. I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, but you still got to give him credit and respect for what he has done on the court and what he has done this season, rising the Lakers to the number one spot in the West for months. This team has looked fantastic. They have looked oiled and prepared to beat anybody. They're not scared of anybody, and they really feel like this is a year that they can really win the title, and they should. This team has a lot of role players, and I always say they depend a lot. I got to bring it up every time because it's true. They depend on Anthony Davis and LeBron to do so much. And it was at one point where I had Anthony Davis number two in the MVP voting, but he got the injuries, little nagging injuries, and then he hurt his tushy. And then, he hasn't had the same impact consistently, offensive and defensively, like they had a month ago. And they come back to earth. You get old, you get tired, your body get beat up, and sometimes you slide. And right now they're just sliding. They're doing enough to win. They're doing enough to hold their number one spot, but they don't look like that elite, dominant, scary team that they did a month ago or even 2 months ago. They just look like a great team in the West right now. And I wouldn't say that last month, but it's reality right now. And they have a bunch of veterans, and that could be why they don't have that guy that just comes in and sparks everybody and make everybody go crazy. But they are a legitimate contender, and a lot of it has to do with LeBron James' decision making, playmaking, and knowing when to take over a game, knowing when to hit the big shots, and knowing when to rise in the big moments. And he has done that all season, especially coming off the Cleveland years when he was doing everything he could to get them to the finals. I'm starting to see that less and less as these weeks have gone on. But at the same time, he still is the second best player this season, and he has been fantastic outside of the first couple weeks, and that's why he's still number 2 on my list. Number 1, Giannis Antetokounmpo. The guy just gallops. He gallops back and forth, up and down the court, offense, defense, dunks on everybody, blocking shots, anchoring defenses, rebounding, and just literally obliterating their competition. Giannis not even playing that many minutes, and he just destroying anybody in sight. They're embarrassing teams, and they're looking like the best team in the entire NBA, including over the Clippers. Will they beat them? Do they have enough? That's another discussion and another different type of style of play, because the playoffs is different than the regular season. But the good, the bad, the ugly, and the terrible, they've been beating everybody. And now, even in December, even now in January, now that it's over, they've been beating the elite teams. And they have even shown that they can win a little bit without Giannis and compete with anybody. But this heart and soul of this team is just Giannis. They're not going to be able to be great and dominant without him, because he just means so much to their offense and their defense, getting players open, getting players ready, and giving them confidence and allowing them to have spectacular plays that can just make the crowd go crazy and make the player just want to step their game up. And that's what Giannis has done. He has done everything that you have needed him to do, and he's even taken a three. People wanted to see Giannis with a three-point shot. He's doing that too. He's setting his feet. He's ready for his mind. His mind is telling him exactly how to shoot it. I always tell people, if you want to know how to shoot, you practice it, you work on it, and it just become muscle memory, something that you just can't forget. And he's following the same feet procedure, the same feel of the ball, the same touch, and he's flying them threes out of his fingers. And it looks good right now, and it's going to be scary for the league if he can become a better free throw shooter and a better three-point shooter, and that will really help take his game to another level when it comes to the playoff rounds. And we've seen that with, Toronto. They just let them take shots around the basket, but not being able to get the dunks and the little lay-ins. And Giannis is going to continue to have to figure out how to score if they wall him off. I feel like that was going to be his demise last year and ended up being it. But I do see growth, and I do see development, that he has improved a lot this season. And he's been my number 1 MVP the whole year. And this month is no different for January and the rest of the season. And the way it's going, it looks like Giannis will be back-to-back MVP this season and last. And that's something that a lot of people felt. That's something that a lot of people said. But honestly and truthfully, it's coming to reality. And I got to give him credit and give Giannis credit for how spectacular he has been this entire season. He's the most consistent player this year, and that hasn't changed. And so far, it's been reality. But, well, all I can say right now is thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. I read every comment. Thanks for liking in advance. Thanks for continuing to watch the videos. How long y'all watch them, it doesn't matter. Thanks for clicking. I appreciate everything you guys have done. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the love. And at the end of the day, Quinn Wade, basketball analysis, I'm gone. And on top of that, it's good that Milwaukee got the team that they have and the player that they have, and getting a whole lot of buzz and attention. Now we thinking, can we get an all-star game in Milwaukee? New arena, superstar player, can be a great host. I'm going to the all-star game in Chicago. It'll be good to have one in Milwaukee. And it'll be good to have a finals in Milwaukee. So Giannis, get the MVP and get that done too. I'm gone.